Hey, Tactical 40K, and I just did a video that is right after this, or it's the same video of the current Vanguard Spearhead list with Raven Guard specifically. Like I said, there's better stuff to run a lot of times when I'm trying to make a competitive Raven Guard list. What I failed to mention in the video is that I also have a squad of, or a unit of scouts, which is pretty much standard in any Space Marine list nowadays. Prior to whatever they're going to do with the data slate here in X amount of days here in January. Also, I don't know how much I got into, you can swap out those Vanguard vets. Sometimes I run 2 squads of these. Of course, they're not fully painted either. Eradicators. You can also do an interesting swap with Centurion Devastators, or I don't have the models yet, but we're going to experiment with running some Blade Guard vets with the Judicer, and then putting the Blade Driven Deep on him, throwing them in the center of the board, and seeing how well they do, and being able to maneuver all my other firing elements around them. So I just wanted to lay that out, because when you see the video right after me talking here, there are a few things that I forgot to mention. Scouts being one of them. I didn't even put them on their thing. I felt like I got a lot of units really for 2,000 points. I think it comes out to 19, depending on how, right now it's 1990. So just wanted to put it out there. So if you see this and you want to, like, remember there's scouts as well. Scouts are in there. Scouts are a vital part actually of this list, because of their ability to infiltrate and then scout, and then be able to take off and on the board, and then more importantly to screen. So like I mentioned in the video too, I ran against a lot of World Eaters, a lot of Necrons, some other Space Marine lists, Orcs, stuff like that. And Orcs and World Eaters, more importantly, you have to screen. You have to be able to have good screening units. Scouts have saved me a number of times with these against these armies. So scouts are in there. I just failed to mention it, so I'm shy, 55 points on there. But anyway, other than that, still painting on a lot of this. Still have a little bit of tweaking in certain units. I'm, like I said, I'm kind of crossed on the Vanguard vets or the Eradicators, or let's try maybe the Blade Guard unit to push up. But we're tweaking it down. Everybody else in my list right now, like I said, there's one sneaky unit you'll hear about that most people don't run in the next video, or not the next video, later on in this video. That's pretty cool. And then, I was going to mention it. So if you do run the Blade Guard vet thing, you just take one of the Tech Marines out, and then you take the Vanguard vets out, and then you run 6-man brig, Blade Guard vet, Judicar, and then put the Blade Driven Deep on him, and then you can throw him up the board. Then you got fights first, and then you got a whole unit with 4+ invul, and then with that too, you have the Blade Guard veteran abilities, whether that be some buffs on their save rolls or some buffs on their attacks or on their hit roll. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Hope you enjoyed the list. Get you thinking a little bit. Some of it's standard, some of it's a little bit different than a lot of the other Vanguard things, or what won it. But the principles are the same of having your main elements and then supporting elements, having some redundancy, having some multiple fires, like you have your your in-drag fire, your drag fires, your things you can put on firing lanes, things that score points. So, which a lot of us tend to forget. Hey, you need units to score. I mean, this game is about killing, but it's more about you got to score points. So I've got some specific units for scoring. I've got a lot of units for killing. But either way, I think it's a well-rounded list. We're gonna play. We're trying to play this Saturday. We're gonna definitely play Friday too. I think they keep canceling Friday night stuff, and then we might be in an RTT here shortly. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the list. And this is my current Raven Guard Vanguard Spearhead list, which obviously most of it's not even painted. I've been here doing this for a little while, and I still haven't got a whole deal painted, but I've been putting them together, and then I start painting, and then I go to something else, and then I go back and paint again. But for the most part, this is what I'm starting to run here, and we can go from right to left just to make things simpler, but I've come up with this list after playing a number of different armies. Granted, I haven't played like that much in the way of Eldar and some other niche type armies, but I've played a lot of, Votan, Necrons, even new Necrons, other Space Marines. Who else have I played? Oh, World Eaters. I've played a lot of different factions. I've kind of developed this. But anyway, we have our jump pack intercessors with a few plasmas, Power Fist, and then we got the captain here, and he's got Ghostweave Cloak just in case he gets. So I have a little bit of flexibility with him. I mean, that Ghostweave Cloak doesn't really do anything unless he's alone. So I'm still debating on whether sometimes either running Shrike over there, or we'll get on with that, the reason why I'm putting that with him. We have these suppressor conversions in Inceptors. So we got, one's being reglued, but we have a 6-man plasma and then a 3-man bolter, which that's a suppressor conversion, which I'm still working on. And the bolters, sustain 2s. I mean, Inceptors in general, you get the meteoric descent, which I hardly ever use, and in Vanguard Spearhead I don't use that much either. I'm usually setting them back a little bit and using maybe a strat or firing upon them. Every once in a while you do use that meteoric descent to take a objective, but other than that, it's situational. We have our standard, which some of these are Ultramarine painted because I love the Raven Guard and their lore, but I also like Ultramarines because their adaptability and use the combined arms warfare. They have they're the Swiss Army knife of Space Marines. But anyway, so we have our aggressors here: bolters, fragstorm launchers, biologists, gives them lethal hits. You can run these with Vanguard Spearhead. Strike from the Shadows is pretty good with them. Just not even running anything and just shooting. It's just a volume of fire. You got the Fragstorm launchers, which blast. I mean, they just put so much firepower down. It's hard not to take them. If you don't run them as a Raven Guard, you put like a Euro Venturist in there, run them as Ultramarines, give them Deep Strike. That's when they become really lethal. But here, they're not bad either. We go over here to Shrike Daddy, which he's awesome, either by himself or attached. Right now I got him attached with our half painted Vanguard vets, and which you could either do that, or I might just run him a single, and then sometimes you can put Eradicators instead of the Vanguard vets, or Centurions, which I know that's the niche thing to do right now, which is probably better. But I don't mind having Vanguard veterans in here either, because they're good at taking out moderately tough or infantry units. They got lethal hits on the charge, plus you put Shrike with them. They got lone op, they can uppy downy, you got precision with Shrike, who's got good melee, so they're not a bad unit. Then I went ahead and opted for an actual battle line unit, which not a lot of people are playing these days, but here's why I did this, is because these guys give you sticky objectives. One, they have OC2, they give you sticky objectives, and they're fairly cheap. So you run around, you already have a strat that gives you deadly prize, but it helps to be able to go ahead and sticky an objective and be able to move off of it instead of dedicating a unit to holding like maybe a home objective, depending on what mission you're playing. So I just like their ability to do that, and then they got assault, so you can run them around, you can set them up to score. So you score, over here, then you might set them up over in the, in the corner or wherever you want to stage them. But they're a good scoring unit. So we go over here to our very far side here, and you're going to see something that not a lot of people play. But anyway, I got 2 Tech Marines, which I like them to run around either, depending on who you're playing. You might want to buff we'll go to the Whirlwind, which we have one of those, or I like to run them around with the Gladiator Lancer, so you can move them around and you get them +1 hit, and you keep them, regenerating some wounds. And then these guys got lone up, and if it happens to blow up around them, then all of a sudden they're just melee beasts, and they're still pretty good melee just regardless. So, I mean, for 55 points, Tech Marines are good. I almost thought about just running one around with a Ghostweave Cloak, but anyway. So I'll put him back here because we're going to go over here to these assassins. Of course, the standard Cladius Assassin, uppy, downy, Vect. So good first fight melee, good scoring unit. She does, she's just arguably one of the better units of the game when it comes to just all around scoring, fighting, just abilities. But here's where we get fishy. So I have every assassin in here, and I've opted to go with the Calexis Assassin, the Psyker Assassin. Let's just call him that. And here's why. One, he's got deep strike. He's lone up. He's stealth. He has crazy anti-psyker defenses, like a 2+, feel no pain or something like that, or involved against psychic attacks. He also has like beefed up weaponry against psychers. He being lone up, and he has a 24-inch gun at like strength 5 or something. It's something crazy. And 2+ psychic. He's just an anti-psyker beast. Plus, he's not bad at just shooting in general against people. He runs pretty fast. He's not bad in melee. For his points, he's probably one of the best assassins. And his threat range is why, because you get the Evisar and you get the Vindicator. Vindicar, he always rolls ones for me. I can't get him to be super effective. The Evisar is good in close range, and in certain lists he's going to be awesome. But this guy, you can put him around. You're shooting at 24 inches with that, plus you got the lone op thing. And if you got some psyker, you're playing an army with a psyker unit in there, you can deep strike him in different spots and just annihilate him. He gets like extra attacks against psychers, so it's pretty good. So then we go to our back line here, and I picked these tanks. I got every tank there is pretty much for Space Marines, or most of the good ones. All the battle style tanks. The repulsor stuff, the Vindicator tank, which was my favorite. Now we got Whirlwinds. We'll start with the Whirlwind. Let's go with the Whirlwind, because the Whirlwind, reason I got that is indirect fire. You need combined arms, firepower, and any effective military unit in real life anyway. So we wanted to opt for that. Reason being, it also gives you battle shock. It's blast. It has a hunter killer missile on it, that's fine. But the indirect fire and causing battle shocks is actually pretty effective sometimes. So we got the indirect firepower there. We go to our dual Gladiator Lancers. One of the reasons we got dual, and the reasons we have some of these bigger units is like redundancy. The Lancers arguably one of the best tanks in the game for points on points. He's got a blast Fragstorm launchers, which granted I see that one has bolters, but they're going to be frags. The Lancer itself has reroll hits, reroll wounds and damage at least once, 1 dice on its gun. It's got the anti-air weapon, which is strength 8 -1 2 damage. I believe is D3 shots or something like that. But it's just a good all-around tank, smaller profile than the Repulsor Executioner and cheaper, so I can put it in places. Plus, with the Vanguard Spearhead, it's -1 to hit and benefit of cover. Gives a little more durability. Just a good all-around tanks. So you can beef them up, like I said, with the Tech Marines, and next thing you know, they're not too bad. They can take out those big targets. So to me, this list has a good mix of scoring, ability to take out horde infantry units, ability to take out tough infantry units, the only thing it's lacking really is really strong melee, but it has some melee. And in Vanguard Spearhead, you don't necessarily want to get tied up in melee. That's why one of the reasons you have this unit, but you might change it out with the Centurion Devastator Squad, or maybe Eradicators or something like that. Or if you want to use Shrike alone, you might throw some Blade Guard vets, or if you want a good melee unit and some board presence. I mean, there's a bunch of plethora of different options, but this list is actually pretty good. It's just how you play it. And Vanguard Spirit is one of those, it's a thinking man's detachment. So I'll also run this, and I'll have variations of different chapters we'll go over with different detachments, variations in different chapters of Space Marines with different detachments. And I'll go over some of the abilities there's some interesting ones that people have pretty much left for dead that I think are going to play. And we'll go over that next time. But anyway, that is my, right now, Raven Guard, Space Marine Vanguard Spearhead list. So I appreciate you guys following, like, and subscribe. Talk to you later.